Hi there, this is David Hunter from bloggerme.com, and this is my review of the Australia-England game on Saturday the 19th of June. From a neutral's point of view, this was a good game, that's for sure. I mean, both Australia and England fielded some young, talented and exciting players in their back divisions, which made for expansive, open and exciting rugby. Which was refreshing as well, because we're so used to boring England that this complete change in style of play was a joy to behold. Anyway, early on in the game, I want to draw your attention to an incident involving Tim Payne, who was penalised for punching. Now, I don't condone this, and I hope you don't condone this either, but the nature of the penalty was that he was the last person to be seen to be punching a member of the opposition. Now, how does that make him any more, or in fact any less guilty than anybody else involved? In my opinion, it doesn't. Now, I'm not saying I know what to do about it, but I think the IRB need to look at that. Find a way to penalise players from both teams to try and discourage this kind of foul play. I mean, I know that some of the guys I used to play with would quite happily have taken the retaliation punch if they knew they were going to get a penalty and perhaps even 3 points on each and every occasion. Anyway, those guys were madmen from the front row, so we'll move on. Back to the game. England played some really expansive, exciting rugby and were rewarded with a great try within 20 minutes whenever a young Ben Youngs, getting his first start at scrum half, took a ball off the top of the line out and went in for a solo effort, showing great speed, great agility and great awareness in fact as well to go in past Drew Mitchell. Now the Australians struck straight back with Matt Giddo rounding off an excellent move off an Australian scrum, which was much more solid this week by the way. Now the timing and the execution of that move was impeccable. In fact, if had it been done a split second later, Australia probably would have been penalised for crossing. That just goes to show, never write off the Australians, no matter how dominant the English seemed in the first 20 minutes. But of course they struck back with a great try of their own before the half hour mark, with Chris Ashton taking an inside pass from Tom Palmer. So the half-time score was Australia 13, England 15. Now the second half started again just as brightly as the first half, with Australia scoring early on through Matt Giddo, rounding off some more great running rugby. But from there on in, the scoring wasn't as prolific. Toby Flood added 3 points through the boot, and in doing so he injured himself, which saw the introduction of Australia's nemesis, Mr. Johnny Wilkinson, who within 2 minutes kicked England into a 21-20 lead, which would actually be the final score of the game with a little under half an hour remaining. Now, as the game went on, players like Quade Cooper did come into the game and looked very, very dangerous. In fact, on another day, if he had someone on his shoulder, perhaps Australia would have scored another try, which might have sealed the match in their favour rather than in England's favour. But to be fair to England, they scrapped really hard for that ball, really, really hard. Tom Croft and Nick Easter in particular, in my eyes, worked really hard and played an instrumental role in making sure the Australians didn't go over. Now, if you saw the game, you'll know that Matt Giddo, with 10 minutes to go, had a penalty right in front of the sticks to win it and missed it. I mean, normally you put your house on this. How did he miss it? I don't know. It's just one of those things. But all credit to England. They played some really good rugby. A new brand of rugby. Hopefully we look forward to more of this from England, and they were deserved winners, but Australians should hold their heads high as well, and they came very close. Perhaps on the day, Will Genia at scrum half, who just came back from injury, was a little bit below par, and if he was fully fit, keeping the England back row honest, perhaps you would have seen a different result. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game, I hope you enjoyed my review, and if you want to join in the discussion, please feel free to put in your comments below here on YouTube or indeed on bloggerme.com.